Hey everybody, I am Gradius from the Chosen Gaming community, and tonight I am joined with Thomas.
Hey everybody, how are you doing?
Right. So this is our new podcast for Star Citizen called Beacon 147. So for those of you who were smart enough to catch that, Beacon 147 was a little Easter egg from the Wing Commander movie.
A fantastic film, by the way.
Yes, where Freddie Prinze Jr. saved the universe.
You know, is it just me, or does Freddie Prinze Jr. really have a way of destroying a good thing?
You know,
I don't want to get into it, but Mass Effect 3,
yeah,
the Star Citizen film, excuse me, the Wing Commander film.
Yeah, like I think during that whole like '90s, late '90s thing, it was what Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, like in every movie ever.
Right. It's like what's his Nick Cage now? He's got to be in everything.
Absolutely. Anyway, good movie. We are paying homage to the movie by naming our podcast Beacon 147. So we plan on putting these podcasts out fairly regularly. Really don't have a set schedule, but as new information comes out, it is our goal to get it to you.
That's you. You as in you.
Not us.
Right, because we don't really know anything. We just make up shit.
That's right. We just read stuff off sites.
Yeah, pretty much. Journalistic integrity.
Absolutely. We just trust the things that we read. And you should trust us because, yeah.
I mean, you don't know us. What do we have to steer you the wrong direction? What gain do we get?
So, Star Citizen. Wow. I mean...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, well, not wow, but wow. Yeah.
Well, not capital W, little o, capital W, wow.
Right. So, when I first saw this game, and I first saw that 15-minute video that they've got up on the RSI website, chills everywhere, man, because... when I was growing up, Wing Commander was the game that I played. The Wing Commander 2, 3, Privateer, hell, I mean, even Freelancer, a little bit, 10 years after Wing Commander. So,
right.
This kind of thing, I mean, this is like my childhood in a game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I remember when you found out about it, it was late one night. It had to be, 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, and it was a weekday, and of course I have a job. So I was, sleeping, and I get these urgent text messages of doom, like, oh my god, sign on, I gotta tell you something. And sure enough, it was the Star Citizen trailer video that you linked to me, and that was it. By 3 a.m., my money was on the table, and I was ready to go.
I'm pretty sure I sent you that text message, and you were asleep, and you actually got online for this, I think. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, so that was a long night, too, oh my gosh. But this game, just kind of going and looking at what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, the depth of the game, it's just freaking nuts. And I guess we can't fit everything into one single episode, so as this podcast grows and expands and keeps on going, we'll try to cover as many things as we can as possible. But I guess today, what I kind of want to do is just kind of go over some of the absolute basics,
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could start off with what Star Citizen is. Feel free to jump in, but the information I have is basically we're looking at a massively multiplayer space simulation game. We're going to have two parts of it. There's going to be the campaign, which is Squadron 42, which is going to be very Wing Commander in spirit feeling.
Yep.
Military person flying around, blowing crap up, having a good time. Then you'll have the option to go straight into the multiplayer aspect without completing Squadron 42, or you could do the Squadron 42 and then go into the multiplayer aspect. But the multiplayer aspect is going to be Star Citizen proper, which is the online version, the have fun, get into it type game. And it's kind of what we're looking at. It's Chris Roberts, so, you've got that name. You know, you've got the name in space simulation games behind it, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. You know, the first thing that I saw, you know, when I watched that trailer with the huge, you know, Bengal carrier flying across the screen, and when they showed, you know, that those were actual in-game assets, the quality and the fidelity of the models of the ships was just sweet. I mean, I don't know. It's like, because I remember when I watched this video, like a week later, I found my old Wing Commander discs and I got it all installed and tried to play it on like a DOS emulator type of thing. And when I played it, not gonna lie, I was wondering, you know, wow, I played this game, and you know, of course I played it with the keyboard the whole time. I didn't have a joystick. Like I wasn't fortunate enough to have a joystick back then. So I played it with like the arrow keys and the space bar to shoot and all that kind of stuff. And I tried playing it again and it was tough. It was tough. And I remember beating these games, man, when I was like 9 to 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have been much younger than you when I got into it. I know it was really once I got out of the DOS, like, you know, what was it, the snake game, the Nibbles or whatever. Once I got out of that, I mean, this was my real first foray into something exciting as far as game goes with Wing Commander and Privateer. And yeah, I mean, I definitely remember beating the games, or you know, or getting at least that feeling of accomplishment that I had completed it, at least to the extent that I was satisfied. And I attempted to play it again, and after much fighting with Windows 8 and other things, I was able to
Gotta
get
love
into.
that.
Yeah, I was able to get Wing Commander working, and dear God,
I
I played
know.
this.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But you know, watching the videos that are out there right now, and some of the videos from the latest, I think it was the GDC, where Chris Roberts got up and showed some more of about how the game works and the physics behind the game and that sort of thing. It's just, it's like, I kind of wish I had that back then, because wow, you know, I mean, I don't know. Either way, I can't wait for this thing to come out. It looks amazing, and you know, with it being made and developed on, was it like the Crytek Engine 3?
Yeah, the CryEngine 3.
Yeah, and with the system requirements being kinda up there, if you really want to play at max settings, I cannot wait to play, you know, a high fidelity space combat game. And
Yeah, I mean, and to me, that's the most exciting element. I know you and I personally both have incredible rigs, and being that we play a lot of massively multiplayer games, whether it's shooter or RPG, uh, we kind of have to suffer with our high end rigs because they're trying to appeal to a mass audience. So we have these, you know, multi CPU, multi GPU rigs that are stuck essentially, you know, rendering console quality games or sub console quality games. And it's going to be nice to play something like Star Citizen on a modified version of the CryEngine 3 engine and really seeing our machines, for lack of a better term, being kicked.
yeah,
You
to
know,
finally
really,
put them to the test, right?
right. So I mean, you get that in single player shooters, or you know, some multiplayer like Battlefield 3 and of course Crisis 3.
Yep.
But to see it in more of a genre that we want to see. I mean, a shooter's a shooter's a shooter. You know, put a different skin on it, give me some different weapons. What, you know, in this one I'll jump 20 meters high, and this one I'll jump 1 meter high. But essentially, it's a shooter. This is a space sim. There has
Yeah.
not been a good space sim since Privateer.
Yeah,
So
and you're right. I
it's
mean,
gonna
I'm
be
just
exciting.
kind of looking at, you know, of course you could play the game if your system meets like the minimum requirements for CryEngine 3, which I think is like 4 gigs of RAM, like a GTX 460, and like a they're saying it's recommended to have at least an i7 2500 or higher, which I don't think that's a very high end i7, but like if you really want the game to shine, they really want you to push, you know, like the higher end GTX 600 series, you know, 8 gigs of RAM or more, and a higher end i7 slash at least an AMD 6 core, you know. So to really push the upper limits of the game and the textures and stuff like that, you want to have a beast. And I mean, I've gone out and read on the forums. You know, this game at this point, this game is not going to be released at least for another year and a half or so. And there are people out there right now planning on building just these amazing rigs just for this game. You know.
Yeah, I may or may not have a couple GTX Titans sitting in my shopping cart on Newegg.
Okay.
May or may not.
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe.
they're in the shopping cart.
Yeah, okay. They're the shopping cart. They're just not in the. You haven't actually gotten to the checkout part yet, right?
Yeah, I haven't phoned Chase Bank and said, "There's gonna be a large purchase. Please let it go through."
Yeah. Well, the game itself. Okay, so all nostalgia aside, the game itself. I mean, what a beast. So, I guess we just kind of dive right in with a couple of the some of the basics of the game. So the game is, you know, of course, it's massively multiplayer, but it's also very heavily instanced. Okay, and that kind of makes sense because if you remember,
and you're talking here about Star Citizen proper. You're not talking about Squadron 42 anymore.
Absolutely, yeah. The Squadron 42 is just a campaign, which they do actually have co-op for. So you will be able to, you know, get together with your buddies and fly the campaign together, or at least help out with, I guess, the main person. You know, like you join and help your friend complete his campaign. The details on that aren't really known yet, but the game itself, Star Citizen, is heavily instanced. And if you think about it, back in the day when you were playing Wing Commander, every single time you went from, let's say, waypoint A to waypoint B, the encounters that you had there were different every time. Like it was almost random, like every single time that you played that game. And I think that's kind of what they're shooting for here too. Is, you know, you're at, you know, one of the planets. Let's say it's Constantinople or something like that. You know, you're at one of those planets. When you fly to waypoint A is its own instance. And there's going to be other players there. There's going to be NPCs there. And I want to say that their limitation right now per instance is somewhere around 100 people. So you could fly from A to B, then back to A, and it might be a different instance. You might see something completely different than you did before. So that's kind of the way they're doing it. And I think it's a limitation of the game engine that they're using, but it still fits how the old school Wing Commander games worked.
And the other thing too is, I mean, we're at least a year and a half away from release, and the good thing about Robert Space Industries and, you know, whatever you want to call it, Cloud Imperium Gaming, the developers, they've been very engaged with their community, and they're listening to what their community is saying and hopping in and being an early adopter, an early pledge giver. You know, you're going to be a part of that community, and you're going to take an active role in getting your word and your voice out there. So if this is something that is, gosh, I just don't see how 100 players is going to be enough to have the epic space battles that I'm looking for. Then say it. Oh, you know, put your opinions out there on the forums, and they're listening to people. It's happening. It's already happening. So
absolutely,
let's see what we can do. I mean, it's CryEngine 3, so there are limitations of CryEngine 3. However, they hired people directly from Crytek, so they are able to rewrite and modify the CryEngine 3 to fit their needs. So it's not just because this is the limit of CryEngine 3, then this is what we're stuck with. It's not necessarily the case. They do have people who wrote that engine in staff on payroll that can make some changes.
Absolutely. You know, kind of going over the, you know, traveling between the instances. This has actually been a fairly hot topic of debate, and I think this is one that we'll kind of see evolve over time as the game is being developed. But as it stands now, you know, there's going to be people out there who enjoy the solo, go explore the universe type of gameplay. I mean, I know it's an MMO, and, you know, it's designed to be a game that's, you know, massively multiplayer, but there are some people out there who want to play Star Citizen like it was a, you know, the single player experience. And what they've done to almost allow for that is they've added something into the game called the player interaction slider bar. Okay, so in your game options, you can turn the player interaction all the way down, and I think the minimum is like 5%. That's what they're going with right now. I think that's what I read from a dev. You can't put it at zero, but the lowest you can go is like 5%. And basically, what that means is that when you're traveling from point A to point B, there is a 5% chance that you will enter an instance that has other players in it. So the majority of the time, you're probably going to see NPCs. Whether it's a pirate NPC or it's just a trade with some traders or merchants or whatever. There's still a 5% chance to encounter other players. Now, on the flip side of that, if a person has their player interaction bar maxed out, and they're going to the same place as a guy who's at 5%, what the game does, from what I understand right now, is it kind of rolls the dice, and it'll take that one guy's 5%, that one guy's 100%, and just kind of roll the dice, and whoever wins. So it's going to be difficult for those people who want a solo experience to play this game. It's still technically possible, but we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. But they're mentioning that they're trying to promote the multiplayer aspect of it by increasing the rewards for people who play with a higher player interaction. So I guess it's if you want to go on that cargo run and you want to have you want the biggest reward for it, put that player interaction slider bar all the way up. There's a risk with that because you may run into pirates, player pirates. But when you get to where you're going and you offload your goods, there's a potential for you to get more money for them.
Yeah, and one of the things too to keep in mind, and this is coming straight from the website where they're talking on their pledge website, where they're talking about how everything's going to work. First off, you're going to have the single player through Squadron 42. It's going to be online or offline with drop in, drop out, co-op multiplayer. So you're going to have that single player experience if that's what you want. You'll have that in Squadron 42. As isolated and as antisocial as you want to be, you're going to have those options. And we've been talking a lot mostly about the persistent universe, the one that's hosted that you're logging into and you're playing with. But there's also the other option, which is the moddable multiplayer, which is the self-hosted option, where you could potentially rent out a server or use an existing server that you may have, load up Star Citizen server client on it, and that's it. That's you. That's your universe. That's your fleet's universe, and you can play that however you want to play it. So it's embracing enough for you where you can go, I want to just do single player. I don't want to have Origin crap in it, and I don't want to have to be online. You've got that. I want to do hardcore multiplayer as PvP centric as I want it to be. You've got that. Or I want to do kind of that open world type stuff, but I kind of want to be in a sheltered environment and not have to deal with, the crowd from another space sim. You'll have that option as well.
Right, and that's actually pretty nice. It does. I'll be surprised if actually I won't be surprised because I know this is going to happen. But I mean, it's gonna be kind of cool to have those servers, those private servers that you can go play on, where you don't have as much risk to you don't have to worry about the guy that you're running into being a pirate. There'll be people running servers that are PvE only. That's going to happen, right? And while that's really good, that's a really good thing. I don't know how that's going to react with just the people who want to play in the big game. I don't know if it's going to detract a lot of people away or how it's all going to work. The details on that, I can't wait for there to be more of them, because it's the whole ability to run your own mirrored version of the game that you can mod and change some of the game rules on is wow, fantastic. I mean, I don't know any other MMO that lets you do that unless it's a hacked private server,
right,
which is technically against the rules, so
right. And we kind of brushed over it, but I think it bears mentioning for those of you that are interested in the game and maybe this is your first time hearing about it, you'll want to check out robertspaceindustries.com. There you're going to see all the options as far as how do you get into the game. Yeah, it's early. Yeah, it's a year and a half out at least, but now's the time to start being a part of the community, building your alliances, finding your fleets like ours, getting your ships together. Yeah, join the fold.
That's right.
But first off, there's no subscription. There's no pay to win. None of that. So you're going to buy it. You're going to play it. That's going to be it. They do have options for how to get the game. Different subscription, that's the wrong word, different package levels that you can purchase. And these packages contain, the game, different perks that are more quality of life enhancements. They have just the basic, a finished game with 1,000 credits and 2 months of insurance on your ship, $30. All the way up to the Super Deluxe, the completionist package that's currently sold out. That's $15,000, but you're going to get the finished ship, all 14 of the ships that are available, fleet names, all sorts of garbage. So I mean, there's levels at any pretty much any dollar amount, going from $30 up to $120 to $15,000. Then they have ongoing packs. Now, the terminology is a little confusing because it leads people to believe that the game will have a subscription. They're called subscriptions, but it's not a subscription. You don't need to do this in order to play the game.
Yeah, it's just to help continually fund the game, right?
Yeah, because it is a crowdsourced game. That he's going to the community, asking the community for money to help develop the game. You can just chip in anywhere from $10 to $20 every month, or go annually $120 or $240, and there are some perks associated with this. That, of course, all the information's available on the website. We're not going to go into it. There's just too much. There's too many options and not enough time to go over it. But it allows you to continue to support the game development. But it is not required in order for you to play the game. But you will have to purchase the game through one of the packages in order to do that. So, but again, $30 is the cost of entry, and you're in. And you pay it now, and you're done. I mean, that's it. And that $30... you've got the game. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
So
you pre-order, you get access to the game. You get access to the forums where you can go in there and chat, and the developers for the game are extremely active on the forums. You can go there and you ask them questions, and they'll get back to you. They'll straight up answer your questions. Yep. And it's a pretty rare thing to be able to experience something like that and be able to ask the guy who's in charge of like this specific thing of the game, that question that normally would just go unanswered.
Yeah, and kind of hopping to subscriptions, one of the benefits of the subscriptions is the ability, depending upon which one you take, to have some questions answered straight from Chris Roberts and the development team. I mean, you pose them a question, they will give you an answer, all the way up to getting to tour one of their studios, the one in Austin or in Los Angeles. So for the super low price of $20 a month, once a year, you can go to Austin or Los Angeles and view the studio. Sit down with the game developers, see what's going on. I don't know any other MMO out there that gives you that option, to where with the low cost of entry, being able to actually have the one-on-one conversations with the lead writer, lead developer, and being able to tour the studios. It's just, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, right before we started this, I just gotten done watching a video of a person who purchased the Rear Admiral pack, and he actually got to visit the studios, one of the studios, and got the full tour with Chris Roberts. They did the whole tour. Chris was showing all the gifts and stuff that they've received, mostly coffee and sweets, to motivate. Get busy, you know what I mean? Right. But no, it's a lot of people are so excited about this game that they've just been showering the studios with, gifts and thank yous and stuff like that. It's been great.
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention before we change topics is, if you do want exclusive access to the alpha and beta, you do have the minimum buy-in for that is the mercenary package, which is $40. And I have heard through the grapevine that we're going to get some alpha content this calendar year. So very soon, this calendar year, like a couple months away, possibly. So if you want to be able to do that, you'll want to get at least the Digital Mercenary Collection, which is $40. and that gets you into the alphas and betas as well.
Absolutely. So, just kind of, I guess going back to it, they've, because we brushed on it very briefly. They did say that the game is going to be, buy to play. So you buy the game, and there's no monthly subscription. Now there are talks of a microtransaction, in-game store, but they've said very, very, very specifically that it's going to be one of those cosmetic, types of stores where there's not really going to be any sort of thing that you can buy that you can't get in the game over time itself as well. Like if it is like a like an item or something like that, if they did add that sort of thing, it would be something that you could normally get in the game. So there's nothing unique in the item store that you couldn't normally obtain. But of course, at this point, the details on that are so sketchy. It's not even funny. But that's kind of where they're at right now. But no real other details other than that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth getting into the forums, making that initial pledge, and you can add on to your pledge. You do that $30, $40 buy-in, and as you get more excited about it and the dates get a little bit closer, you can start to pledge more to unlock some more perks. But doing that, you get to see kind of a baseline of what the store might look like. I mean, they do have the add-ons, different ship colors, different badges, different emblems, different ships themselves that you can purchase. So I could see that being kind of the direction that their store is going to go. But speculation, of course.
Right. So, I mean, and at this point with the crowdfunding and things like that, they've raised just, I think...
8.7 million.
8.7 million. I think they said in total it's going to require somewhere between 12 and 14 million to completely develop the game. And so far what they've spent somewhere between 1 and 2 million developing what's already been publicly released in like demos and things like that. So at this point, the base functionality for the game is kind of there. They're just turning that base functionality into an MMO right now, and that's going to be the expensive, time consuming part of the development process, and that's what they're working on now. So, I mean, go over there. If any of this interests you, go over there, sign up, throw them a few bucks, and let's get this freaking game done. Because wow, cannot wait for this.
Yep.
So we're coming up to about 30 minutes, so we're going to kind of get wrapped up here in a few minutes. But I guess in closing with me, again, this entire game is just brings back so many memories. I mean, I even went to Amazon and bought one of the first books in the first Wing Commander novels that they ever wrote.
Amazon, put them on Kindle.
Right. But yeah, I picked up the first one, started reading it. So far, it's good. It's about the Kilrathi and their honor code and how they all work out. And I don't think we'll see the Kilrathi in Star Citizen, but just kind of getting into the Wing Commander spirit. It's always fun, So I don't know, just super psyched about the game coming out.
I couldn't agree more. I'm very, very excited for it. I try to keep up with the community as much as possible through the different resources that are out there. The YouTube channel that Robert Space Industries is running through the Wingman's here, Wingman's Hangar or some garbage like that. A couple different community podcasts that are out there. The forums. Every day that passes, I get more and more excited. A new piece of information gets leaked. A new image of a ship gets leaked or something, and it just I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that'll do it for the first episode of Beacon 147. And, we look forward to doing these more and more. And hopefully, things go well. Like I said, it's our goal to bring you whatever information we can for Star Citizen and to help promote the game, because it's going to be a monster. So,
yep.
I think that's it for now, and we'll hit you guys up next time. Really don't know exactly what the topics are going to cover, but we'll try to get that information out to you guys, and we'll go from there.
See you guys.
All right, adios.